but like when we went through the case on marriage equality on the merits, people say, well, what do you think is going to happen? I never predict, but I think we have really, really strong arguments.
That's good news.
Good to hear.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks.
This brings up a question I was going to ask you. How does a single man married with a child get into how did you get into being such a advocate for same-sex marriage and all of this? How did that start?
Well, I look at it this way. You know, this isn't, I don't view this as a simply LGBT issue, or it is a universal issue that impacts folks whether they're LGBT or straight. Now, obviously the issue of marriage equality we dealt with, and we got a favorable ruling out of the California Supreme Court where they said it was a fundamental right. I think we actually got involved with that case before I even realized we were getting involved with that case. And what I mean by that was the year prior to that, to 2004, back in 2003, we had been working, my office along with the assessor's office, had been working on classifying the word spouse to include domestic partners and others, such that on the death of a same-sex domestic partner, that could be that person would be a spouse for property tax reassessment purposes. We got a lot of heat for that, and we worked that at the state level and the local level. And I realize now we were going down this path without even realizing at the time that we were doing it. And I think we were doing it precisely because we saw the inequities that could befall same-sex couples that didn't have the benefits that straight couples did. So then when Mayor Newsom came back after hearing the State of the Union address and we started to defend him on his actions, I mean, it was very, very natural because we had made a lot of the same arguments that we made in connection with property tax reassessment the year before to defend our position in our case. And even after the California Supreme Court said that the mayor had acted beyond his authority, you know, it was a quick, easy jump for me to say, you know what, despite that, I'm going to file our own case to challenge the constitutionality of California's marriage laws. And it was because I think it had its genesis back when we were dealing with property tax reassessment back in 2003. And, you know, it's really a very human issue and humane issue. We're all entitled to equal protection under the law. And why should everybody not have the same benefits and privileges and protections that straight couples have? So we dealt with that. But now it's gone beyond the issue of marriage equality. Because Prop 8 is something that doesn't just affect LGBT couples. It affects straight folks as well. Because if we can have anybody just rewrite the Constitution based on the whims of the political majority at one particular time or another, we have gutted the protections afforded by an independent judiciary to ensure that we're all, by a co-equal branch of government, entitled to equal protection under the law. So this impacts and is a threat to all of us, whether you're straight, lesbian, or gay.
Absolutely. I have a question on the wording on Prop 8. I always thought it was very unusual that when you think of Prop 8, you think of same-sex marriage. So one would normally vote, yes, I want same-sex marriage, so yes on 8.
Yeah.
But it was no one. Do you think there was any, I mean, in the wording?
I will say this. There may have been. Because I even caught myself.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wait a minute, yes, no,
like,
yeah, no.
And when I'd be talking to people, and you'd kind of, you know, mix up the vernacular. So I think, did it confuse some people? Sure. Did we all have to think about it a little bit? Yeah. Was that what caused us to lose? No. There are a lot of things, and I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback. I think everybody put their heart and soul into this, and everybody ran a good, hard campaign, and unfortunately, for a variety of reasons, we lost. But that issue was something, even I myself, as I was going through the course of the campaign, I caught myself having to think about how I was phrasing it to make sure the words were coming out right.
Definitely. A little confusing. In December 2001, you were elected in a runoff to the post of San Francisco City Attorney, the first Latino elected to that position. Why is that important to our city?
I think it's important to have diversity and representation in city government, and to give all communities a sense that they have a stake and a voice and a seat at the table in the body politic here in San Francisco. So we are I think San Francisco is a city of firsts, but we're a nation of firsts.
Yeah, we
and President Obama, I think rightfully, he's a first in a lot of ways, and I think that's a good thing. That doesn't mean that that's the only thing we should be focused on, but we should always focus on is one a great candidate or the right person to hold the job. But I think it's important to send messages that every community has a seat at the table when it comes to feeling or seeing how we decide things politically here in San Francisco.
Especially being the rich, diverse city that we are.
We are, absolutely.
Absolutely. What does the city attorney actually do? What do you do?
The easiest way to think about it is I'm the Attorney General for San Francisco without the criminal side. The district attorney prosecutes criminals, and she does a great job. The city attorney has a lot of responsibilities. I am the general counsel to every city department, agency, commission, and elected official. We draft all the laws. We negotiate all the contracts. Whenever the city gets sued or a claim is filed against the city, we defend the city. Whenever the city is a plaintiff against somebody, we do that. We negotiate all the contracts for the city. Then on top of that, I have an added, not responsibility, but a prerogative, and that is I can sue in the name of the people of the state of California. I'm only one of 4 city attorneys in the state of California that can do that. So oftentimes you'll see the cases we're involved in, the people of the state of California versus whomever, by and through City Attorney Dennis Herrera. So a lot of our consumer protection or environmental things, we do that in the name of the people of the state of California using my authority to file claims that allege unfair business practices. So I have that capability as well. So that's a thumbnail of everything that we do.
You're a busy, busy man.
Yeah, we have a lot going on.
I think one of the ones recently was the gender in healthcare.
Yeah, gender rating. Gender rating is outlawed in 10 states of the union. And basically what we did in that case is we sued the state of California saying that laws that allow gender rating in the state of California when it comes to the purchase of health insurance are unconstitutional and illegal. Basically, assume for the sake of argument that you and I are going out in the open market to purchase health insurance, not through an employer, individually. And irrespective of, let's assume we each have the same risk factor or lack of same risk factor, we're both the same person. Just by virtue of you being a woman and me being a man, you're going to pay a higher premium.
That's
most
not fair.
likely. Not fair.
No.
And the reason is, women, whether they say it or not, the reason is women engage in more preventive health care than men do. Mammograms. Gynecological exams. You're doing regularly scheduled maintenance, and you visit doctors more often, but it's not because you're any more of a risk factor. On the other hand, men don't do that, and then we are oftentimes a greater burden on the healthcare system in later life because we haven't been at the doctor as much and we suffer from more chronic ailments. So why should a woman be discriminated against based on that? It's outlawed in 10 states. It's wrong to be allowing it here in the state of California, and everybody should be judged on their relative risk factors for purchasing health insurance, because ultimately it costs the city a lot of money, because a lot of women that they can't afford the premium when it goes out, what do?
Absolutely.
They go to San Francisco General Hospital and the public health system to get their health care.
Yeah, absolutely. We're running out of time here, but I wanted to know what so far that you have done are you most proud of?
It's something I think is probably going to surprise you.
I've heard a lot, Dennis.
Everybody says, marriage. I'm really proud of that. Other things we've done. The thing I'm most proud of is settlement of a lawsuit that led to the establishment of the first Boys and Girls Club, National Boys and Girls Club in the Bayview Hunters Point. The Willie Mays Boys and Girls Club that they broke ground on during the All-Star game a couple of years ago, and now is up and running. It's been up and running since June. That came about after we partnered with the Boys and Girls Club. It had its genesis in a lawsuit that I filed. I got the initial money for as part of a legal settlement. To see kids who haven't had opportunity really have opportunity and being taken off the streets and being shown that there is another way, another path, a way to success through programs and athletics, proudest thing I've done as city attorney.
That's amazing. And the children do know that there are adults out there that care.
Absolutely.
And are behind them and finding them doing something good. and helping him through. That's amazing. Very good.
Yep.
Very good. Well, I have so many more questions for you. Running out of time here. What's to come in San Francisco? What if you can wave a magic wand and change something immediately? What would you do if you could change something for San Francisco?
I would make sure that our schools were fully funded and we had the type of public school system that we deserve and our kids deserve.
It's a great city, and it is up to our children to make it even more wonderful as we go forward. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. You have a lot of work to do.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep you long because you